It was an eventful weekend for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their quarterback situation. I believe Pete Carroll got hired an hour after we jumped off the show on Friday, which sparked plenty of conversation. I got phone calls almost immediately, and I'll just tell you how this phone call started. Hello, how's it going? Hey, I'm not going to tell you what to write. I'll never tell you what to write. But you wouldn't be too off base if you started putting the narrative out there that maybe the Raiders are going to end up with Russell Wilson. I said, all right. That's pretty self-explanatory. But if you want to tell me a little bit more, that'd be great. And then that transpired into, there's interest. The word amends was used more than once. It just, momentum is there for Russell Wilson to go to Vegas. Now, fun fact, Russell Wilson considered 3 teams last offseason. Those 3 teams were the Pittsburgh Steelers, the New York Giants, and the Las Vegas Raiders, but he didn't get an opportunity to go to Vegas, and the Giants didn't really want him. So he ended up in Pittsburgh with the Steelers. Now that door is open. On the back end of that, there are 2 different options that the Pittsburgh Steelers can reportedly or are reportedly interested in. Both of them are stunners, and we'll dive into those soon. But let's start with Russ possibly going to Vegas. Pete Carroll gets hired by the Raiders. Obviously, everybody starts talking, oh, here it is. This is the bridge quarterback. This is how you do it. The way I look at this situation is I would be shocked if Russell Wilson didn't end up in Vegas, solely because it just makes too much sense. Pete Carroll is not there to win a Super Bowl. Although if he did, that would be awesome. But he's not there to win a Super Bowl. He signed a 3-year deal at 73 years old or 74 years old, which means that he'll be pushing 80 by the time he's done. And unless it's there and they understand Pete Carroll's going to be back and he's going to do this thing again, I got a hard time believing at 77 the Raiders are going to say, we'll hand you 3 more years and we'll make this work. No. In my eyes, what this is a bridge head coach. This is the Raiders saying, we couldn't get Ben Johnson. We couldn't get any of these big names. Antonio Pierce didn't work out. We need somebody that we know is going to bring us forward and set us up for success in the future. Pete Carroll. He's going to add wins. He's going to take your team from whatever they sit 5th worst or whatever in the NFL to top 15 in the NFL, which is exactly what you're looking for. And then when he leaves, hopefully there's somebody else below him that you could hire as a head coach to say, look at our infrastructure is here. We've set ourselves up to be stable. Now we have to put the next leader in place and replace that guy. But that's a lot easier than finding a head coach year after year after year after year. So Pete Carroll's there to be a bridge coach, which is a very unheard of term in the NFL, but I think it's true. He's got to win games. He doesn't have to win a ton of games. He just has to set this team up to be a competitor. Obviously, the thought is win a Super Bowl, but chances are that's not going to happen. What brings you immediately from 5th worst team in the NFL, 6th worst team, whatever they are, to middle of the pack potential playoff team? A quarterback. And Aiden O'Connell might be the guy in 5 years. Probably not. Gardner Minshew isn't the guy at all. Russell Wilson is a guy that could probably get you to the playoffs. And if he doesn't, he's going to get you very close to the playoffs. He's a bridge quarterback. He could be there for the 3 years that Pete Carroll's there. He could be there for the 3 years that Pete Carroll's there. And in the last 2 of those years, develop a quarterback behind him like he helped Justin Fields do. And boom, Pete Carroll leaves, Justin Fields leaves, Russell Wilson leaves. And the Raiders have set up for a new day and age in Las Vegas with plenty of potential and 2 massive components that they just built below them. So in my eyes, it's the perfect scenario for the Raiders to say, Russell Wilson, come on to Vegas. Why not? You're better than what we've got. We don't have a draft pick high enough to land a quarterback. And who are we going to go get? Daniel Jones? That's not going to work, and people aren't going to be happy about it. Nobody's going to be happy about Russ, but at least they'll understand the process in it. I'm saying Russ ending up in Vegas is not a surefire thing. But I would imagine those talks that we were talking about last week, they're not happening right now. They have gone cold. Those phone calls are quiet right now. Phone ain't ringing on either side because Russ and his agent are talking with Sierra at home. Mr. Unlimited, where are you trying to go? Maybe Vegas. Maybe I'm trying to go to Vegas, where I know the head coach. The head coach knows me. There's no competition with Justin Fields. Aiden O'Connell ain't going to beat me out. I mean, why not? Why not? I'm saying Russ is most likely going to end up in Vegas. I'll leave it at that one, but I'm going to say most likely. As the news broke, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, the one word that came to mind and the word of the day today is going to be stability for the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, think about who the part owner is. He's not the majority owner, but think of who the partial owner of the Raiders is right now. It's Tom Brady. He's starting to kind of make his mark on the organization. I understand he's only a minority owner, but you don't think that he doesn't have the ear of everybody else that's a decision maker in that organization? 100%. And they have been one of the most volatile organizations in the NFL. Everybody searches for stability. And I think that's what they're trying to do with the Pete Carroll hire. Hey, let's bring in somebody who's going to kind of calm everything down around this circus of an organization and get us just pointed in a direction. We need to figure out what the direction is going to be, but we need to be pointed in a direction. None of this up and down, up and down. Hey, we're in the playoffs this year. Now we're picking 7th overall. Now we're picking a guy that really is not going to make an impact. Now we're picking this guy. Now this is the quarterback. Now Derek Carr is the future. We're going to bring in Devontae Adams, and we're going for it all. And the next year, okay, well, we're going to go with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, and that's what we're going to do now. And it's too much volatility. I think if you're Tom Brady, if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you want more stability. Pete Carroll fits in line with that. Get your organization settled down and get them set on a trajectory. Russell Wilson fits that as well, because you look at all the other options. Right now, they're picking 6th in the NFL draft. You're not going to get Shedeur Sanders. You're not going to get Cam Ward, and that is far too high to pick anybody else in the NFL draft. Maybe you get somebody in the 2nd round. Maybe you get somebody in the 3rd. They're not a starting quarterback in week 1 in 2025. What is the most stable? And by that, I mean, I understand. We watched Russell Wilson go from 6-1 and he's all back to 6-6, losing 5 in a row. But of the quarterbacks available, you know what you got out of Russell Wilson more than you know what you got out of anybody else. I think that goes perfectly in line with the word of the day. That goes perfectly in line with the message that right now, to me, the Las Vegas Raiders are conveying, which is stability.
Yes, I 100% agree. That is all they're looking for. They haven't had it since Gruden. They haven't even had that. They didn't have it at the end of Gruden. They're looking for it now. That's been impossible to find. Hey, how do we figure this thing out? Okay, well, the first thing you do is you build the structure. You make that base. Well, Russell Wilson's probably going to be part of that base. I had phone calls that make me think that Russ is very, and both sides are very interested in making this happen. It's early. Things will change, but I have an idea that most likely he's going to end up there. And I was asked too, like, hey, what are your thoughts on Russ? I was like, I don't know. Russ don't have tall offensive linemen, and Russ could probably do very well. I was like, you build it and things will be okay, but he's not going to win you a Super Bowl.
I was going to say Jackson Powers Johnson isn't the tallest offensive lineman, so
that's true. He's a short guy. That's true. You just always got, I think he plays left guard for them. You just always kind of go to
over the left guard.
To the left guard. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.